On the occasion of the centenary of the CPC, held its sixth plenary session at the critical juncture where the time frames of the two centenary goals converge, this meeting is one of great significance. And the plenary session has concluded all the agenda items, time frames of the two centenary goals converge, and considered and adopted the great resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century. And considered and today we have with us resolution leading officials of relevant departments to brief on the decisions and guidelines of the Sixth Plenary Session, explain the content of the resolution, and answer your questions. Officials of relevant departments present at the press conference decisions and guidelines of the Sixth Plenary Session, explain the content of the resolution. Mr. Wang Xiaohui, Executive Vice Minister of the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee. Mr. Jiang Jinquan, Director of the Policy Research Office of the CPC Central Committee. Wang Xiaohui, Executive Vice Minister of the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee. Mr. Han Wenxiu, Executive Vice Minister of the Office of the Central Financial and Economic Affairs Commission of the CPC Central Committee, and Mr. Chu Qingshan, Director of the Institute of Party History and Literature of the CPC Central Committee. Now I'll hand over. National rejuvenation and the profound changes unseen in a century in the world, followed the prevailing trend of the times, maintained strategic initiatives, and delivered on a string of major overarching undertakings that are deeply encouraging, resolutely overcome the many risks and challenges, and scored proud achievement in the cause of the party and the people. The hearts and minds of the party, the military, and the people are more united than ever before. What has happened proves that to establish Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the Party Central Committee, advancing the cause of the party and the country in the new era, and for driving forward the historic process of great national rejuvenation. The participants all agree that with the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core charting the course and taking the helm, and with the solidarity of the whole party, whole military and Chinese people, no obstacle or hardship is able to hold back the marching forward of the Chinese people, and no risk or challenge is able to hold back the historic process of the great national institutional rejuvenation. The most important outcome of the plenary session is the consideration and adoption of the resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century. On the occasion of the centenary of our party, the Central Committee held its Sixth Plenary Session to have a comprehensive summary of the major achievements and historical experience gained throughout the 100-year struggle. It is a solemn, historic, and strategic decision that reflects our party's high political awareness of attaching great importance to and fully applying the historical laws, and demonstrates our party's confidence and sense of responsibility in keeping to its founding mission and building on past achievements to usher in a new future. Over the course of the CPC's 100-year history, the 7th Plenary Session of the Sixth Central Committee in 1945 formulated the resolution on certain issues in the history of the party, and the 6th Plenary Session of the 11th Central Committee formulated the resolution on certain questions in the history of our party since the founding of the PRC. The two resolutions are different in terms of their historical conditions and context and the issues they aim to address, but both are formulated at major historical junctures, and both have played an important role in advancing the cause of the party and the people. Now, 76 years have passed since the formulation of the first historical resolution, and over the past 4 decades, the cause of the party and country has greatly moved forward. So has the theory and practice of the party resolution, standing at a new historical starting point to review the past and look into the future, and to have a comprehensive and systemic summary of the 100-year journey of the party, especially of the 40-plus years since the start of the reform and opening up, is both an objective necessity and has subjective conditions. The resolution adopted by the plenary session has 7 parts. Its content highlights 2 priorities. First, different from the previous 2 resolutions, which mainly summarize the historical lessons of the party and make a distinction between right and wrong, the resolution focuses on summarizing the major achievements and historical experience in the party's 100-year journey. The main consideration is that between the party's founding and the early days of reform and opening up, the major issues of right and wrong in the party's history have been basically settled by the previous 2 historical resolutions. The basic characterization and conclusions still apply today. Since the start of reform and opening up, despite some questions in the work of the party, overall, the cause of the party and country has had smooth development, the direction has been correct, and the achievements have been remarkable. The resolution's primary focus is summarizing the major achievements and historical experience of the party's 100-year struggle. This is in keeping with reality and will help to increase the wisdom, enhance solidarity, and boost confidence and morale across the party. Second, for the history of the party during the new democratic revolution and the period of socialist revolution and construction, the 2 previous resolutions have had systemic summary. For the historical achievements and experience gained during the new historical period of reform and opening up, systemic summaries have been made on the 20th, 30th, and 40th anniversary of the 3rd plenary session of the 11th CPC Central Committee. Thus, the resolution is focused on summarizing the historical achievements, the transformational practices, original thought, breakthrough, and signature achievements since the 18th CPC National Congress. This will better guide the whole party and Chinese people of all ethnic groups to reaffirm confidence, focus on what we are doing now, and embark on a new journey and make new contributions in the new era with greater pride. The Central Committee also made another important decision at the session. That is, the CPC will convene its 20th National Congress in Beijing in the second half of 2022. This Congress, which is to be held at an important time frame when the party has embarked on a new journey to build a modern socialist country in all respects and to realize the second centenary goal, will be a highly important meeting. and will be an event of great political significance for both the party and the country. The plenary session called upon the party organizations at all levels and the entire party membership to rally more closely around the Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, to surmount difficulties, forge ahead so as to make new and greater contributions toward building a modern socialist country in all respects, securing great success for socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era and realizing the great national rejuvenation, and to ensure that excellent results are achieved by the time the 20th CPC National Congress is convened. The Sixth Plenary Session of the 19th CPC Central Committee is one of major historical significance held at a major historical juncture. The resolution adopted at the session crystallizes the party's struggle, sacrifice, and creation over the past 100 years as it pursues the founding mission of seeking happiness for the Chinese people and rejuvenation for the Chinese nation. It lays out profound answers to the questions why we were successful in the past and how we can continue to succeed in the future. We're confident that this plenary session will have a major, far-reaching impact on enhancing the unity in thinking, will, and actions within the party, rallying the leading Chinese of all ethnic groups to learn from history, work hard, and forge ahead for a better future, and better upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. That concludes my briefing. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wang Xiaohui. Now, the floor is open to questions. Please identify your media affiliation before asking a question. We have many foreign reporters present today. The press conference is conducted with simultaneous interpretation. Questions raised in English will be interpreted consecutively into Chinese. With CCTV, according to the communique of the plenary session establishing Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and defining the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, is of decisive significance for the development of the cause of the party and for advancing the historic process of the great national rejuvenation. How are we to understand the decisive significance? I'm very glad to answer this question. Establishing Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and defining the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is of decisive significance for advancing the cause of the party and the country and in the new era, and for driving forward the historic process of national rejuvenation. There is sufficient basis in practice. That is, since the 18th CPC's National Congress, the historical achievements and transformations in the cause of the party and country are fundamentally a result of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core charting the course. That is the shared aspiration of the whole party and people. There is also sufficient basis in theory. That is, a strong leadership core and sound guiding theories are of fundamental importance to the future of the party and country and to the success of the cause of our party and people. For a country and a political party, the leadership core is of vital importance. Comrade Deng Xiaoping once keenly observed that any leading group should have a core, and leading without a core is unreliable. For a big party which has a membership of over 95 million, and for China, a big country with 56 ethnic groups and 1.4 billion people, it would be unimaginable had there not been a core of the Party Central Committee and of the whole party. There will be a lack of cohesion and nothing can be accomplished. Only when there is a core of the Party Central Committee and of the whole party can the party have strength. Since the 18th National Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping, with profound care of the people, extraordinary political wisdom, and strong sense of responsibility, has led the whole and Chinese across the country historical the new socialism is historic transformation and of a prosperity in North on the China. General Secretary the call is well to establish General Secretary Xi's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole is the call of the times, the choice of history, and the aspiration of the people. By firmly supporting and upholding General Secretary Xi's core position, the whole party will have an anchor, the entire Chinese people will have a backbone, and the giant vessel of China's rejuvenation will have a steady hand on the tiller. No matter what choppy waves we might encounter, we will always be able to stay calm and composed. Only when political parties follow sound theories can it embrace the power of truth. Only when a cause follows the guidance of sound theories can it enjoy a bright future. Over the past 100 years, our party has been able to accomplish the formidable tasks that other political forces are not able to and secured one victory after another in the struggles against various political forces as well as difficulties and challenges. The fundamental reason is that we have adapted the basic principles of Marxism to the Chinese reality and to China's fine traditional culture and continuously pushed forward innovation in theories and are good at guiding new practices with new theories. Since the 18th National Congress, with a keen understanding of the dynamics and pulse of the times and staying on top of the trend, General Secretary Xi Jinping, with extraordinary courage in theory, has put forth a string of original strategic thoughts and innovative philosophy and established the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. This important thought is the Marxism of contemporary China and of the 21st century. It embodies the best of the Chinese culture and ethos in our times and has provided a solid guide to action for advancing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. By establishing the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, our party is able to, in the context of the complex and deep interplay of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and once in a century changes in the world, keep to the right direction, break waves and stay on the right course, stay on top of the logic behind development and plan the development of our cause and address risks and challenges with a sound outlook of the world and methodology and lead people to continuously open up brighter projects for the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation.
Xinhua News Agency. The communique pointed out that Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era achieved a new breakthrough in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. How should we understand this new breakthrough? Mr. Wang Xiaohui, please. As we all know, the Communist Party of China is a party that attaches great importance to theoretical guidance. The new summarization and elaboration of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is a significant highlight of the resolution as well as a major contribution of the plenum. As you may have noticed, the communique pointed out that Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is contemporary Chinese Marxism and 21st century Marxism, and the essence of Chinese culture and Chinese spirit of our times. It achieved a new breakthrough in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. I believe this was give a scientific elaboration on the theoretic content and major significance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and mark its important position in the development history of Marxism and the development history of the Chinese culture. I think we can take the following three-step perspectives. First, this thought gives profound answer to the major questions of the new era. Since the 18th Party Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping made deep-going consideration and scientific assessment on a series of major theoretical and practical issues concerning the development of the endeavors of the party and the country, thoroughly reviewed and fully applied the historical experience gained since the founding of the party, proceeded from the new realities, and gave profound answers to the major questions of our times, namely, what kind of socialism with Chinese characteristics we should uphold and develop in this new era, what kind of great modern socialist country we should build, and what kind of Marxist party exercising long-term governance we should develop, as well as how we should go about achieving these tasks. And founded Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. This thought has given a lot of important guiding new ideas on Marxism and Marxist political economics, and realized a new elevation of Marxism, draws a new blueprint for China-style modernization path, and broke new ground in party discipline and prosperity. Second, this thought puts forward a series of original new concepts, new thoughts, and new strategies in governance. The resolution on the basis of the 8 clear definitions laid out in the report to the 19th Party Congress put forward another 10 clear definitions as further summarization of the core content of the thought. On comprehensively enforcing strict party discipline, it expressed that the key to running China's affairs well lies in the party and in party governance and comprehensive and strict party discipline, stressed that the party's political work should play the leading role, and underlined the need to profoundly advance anti-corruption struggle, implement the political responsibilities of party governance and discipline, and lead the great social revolution with the great self-reform. These strategic thoughts and innovative concepts give brand new perspectives into the laws governing the Communist Party's governance, development of socialism, and development of the human society, and are the latest outcomes of adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. Third, this thought is the essence of Chinese culture and the Chinese spirit of our times. Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is deeply rooted in the Chinese culture, draws nutrition from the profound philosophical thoughts, humanist spirit, and moral ethics of all-covering fine traditional Chinese culture, and is a glorious example of a creative transformation and innovative development of the fine traditional Chinese culture. It deeply reflects the dreams and pursuits of the Chinese nation since ancient times, particularly the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, the greatest dream since modern times. It is a crystallization of the Chinese people's great spirit of creation, great spirit of struggle, great spirit of solidarity, and great spirit of dream. It has powerful historical penetration force, cultural moving force, and spiritual inspiring force. Effectively activated the vitality of fine traditional Chinese culture and breathed new vitality into Marxism on the vast land of China. In short, Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era features complete system, rigorous features a combination of major theoretical outcomes of Marxism with Chinese realities and fine traditional Chinese culture, an important theoretical crystallization of the party's historical achievements and historical transformations since the 18th National Congress, and realized the historical leap and creative elevation of adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. Nippon News Network. The resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century was deliberated and adopted at the Sixth Plenum. What is the significance of the Sixth Plenum's deliberation on this resolution? What would be the influence? Mr. Ju Qingshan, please. Thank you, and I will take this question. The resolution was deliberated and adopted by the Sixth Plenum of the 19th CPC Central Committee at an important historical moment of the party's 100th anniversary and an important historical juncture of the party uniting and leading the people to successfully complete the first centenary goal and complete the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and marching toward the second centenary goal of fully building a great modern socialist country. The resolution reflects the wisdom of the entire party, gives a comprehensive review of the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century, particularly of the historical achievements and historical transformation in the endeavors of the party and the country since the 18th Party Congress, fully demonstrating the party's superior political wisdom and sense of responsibility, and the party's high level of historical awareness and historical confidence. Our party is a Marxist political party that sets great store by and excels at summarizing historical experience. At every important historical moment and major historical juncture, our party reviews the history, summarizes experience, and draws wisdom and strength from history for future progress. Just now, as was mentioned by Minister Wang, he mentioned that in the party's century-long history, in 1945, the party formulated the resolution on several historical issues, and in 1981, the resolution on several historical issues since the founding of the People's Republic of China. Two resolutions that played important roles in advancing and guiding the endeavors of the party. And the resolution adopted at this plenum is the third historical resolution of the party. And I believe, just like the previous two resolutions, will play an important role in helping uniting the theory, will, and action of the party learning the experience from the history to achieve future progress, and in realizing the second centenary goal and the Chinese dream of great national rejuvenation. If I were to give the resolution an overall assessment and positioning, maybe I can do that in 3 sentences. First, it is a guideline document of Marxism. Second, it is a political proclamation of the Chinese Communists, staying committed to the original aspiration and founding mission and upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. And third, it is the action guide on learning from history to create a bright future and realizing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. To be more specific, I think the resolution has the following profound and far-reaching significance and impacts. Let me share with you 3 points. First, the resolution makes in-depth summarization of the great journey of the party uniting and leading the people from one victory to another over the past century, educates and guides the entire party to have a profound understanding of the challenges we overcame for the Red regime, for New China, and for socialism with Chinese characteristics, and enhances the courage and strength to continue to march forward. On the new journey, we face both rare development opportunities and many severe and complex risks and challenges, which require us to use the party's major achievements and historical experience to boost morale, chart the course, pool strength, and firm up conviction. Uphold and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics with unmatched enthusiasm and strive to secure a new victory in fully building a modern socialist country. Second, the resolution makes in-depth summarization of the growth trajectory of the party from infancy to what it is now in 100 years, educates and guides the entire party to have a profound understanding of the importance of enhancing the party's political work, enhances the commitment and awareness of upholding the party's solidarity and unity. On the new journey, to realize the second centenary goal, we must uphold and carry forward the historical experience of upholding the Central Committee's authority and its centralized unified leadership, particularly the new experience since the 18th Party Congress. Strengthen our consciousness of the need to maintain political integrity, think in big picture terms, follow the leadership call and keep in alignment with the Central Party leadership, enhance our confidence in the path, theory, system and culture, resolutely uphold Comrade Xi Jinping's call, position on the Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and uphold the Central Committee's authority and its centralized unified leadership. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at the core, we will rally the entire party like a piece of unbreakable iron and march forward in lockstep. Third, the resolution makes in-depth summarization of the party's vivid practice over the past 100 years in strengthening, developing itself and advancing self-reform, educates and guides the entire party to have a profound understanding of the importance of comprehensively strengthening party discipline, and ensures that our party always remains the strong leadership core of the endeavor of socialism with Chinese characteristics. On the new journey, The exam is far from being finished, and the party has a long way to go. We must draw historical experience from the party's efforts to strengthening self-development, maintaining vanguard nature and purity, and raising leadership level and governance capacity. Keep elevating the party's capacity to respond to risks and challenges, maintain vigor and vitality, uniting and leading the people of all ethnic groups in making continued efforts to realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. So this is my answer to your question. Thank you.
中区第4排这位女士。
谢谢。光明日报记者提问：从全会公报
From Guangming Daily, we can see that when reviewing the achievements and experience of the new era, the communique dedicated a part of it specifically to the development of culture, emphasizing that there has been a sweeping and fundamental shift in the ideological domain, a notable boost in confidence in our culture among all party members and Chinese people. Could you elaborate on that?
我们请王晓辉先生回答。
这个众所周知啊，文化是一个国家、
As we know,
一个民族的灵魂。
Culture is the soul of a country and a nation. Since the 18th National Congress, the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, has placed high importance on the development of culture. It has juxtaposed confidence in culture with confidence in path, theory, and system, characterizing them as confidence in 4 aspects. With a view to building a socialist country strong in its culture, it strives to hold the banner, rally the people, cultivate the new generation, develop the culture, and present a better image. Historic achievements have been made in cultural development. More specifically, there are a few points I'd like to highlight. First, Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era has increased in public appeal. We have stayed committed to Marxism as a guiding ideology, which is of fundamental importance in our cultural sector. For more in-depth study of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, we have edited and published books and additional readings, including Xi Jinping, The Governance of China, study outline, and question and answers on Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. We have built and made good use of centers for cultural development in the new era, county-level media convergence centers, and the platforms such as 学习.cn, also known as 学习强国. We continue to arm the whole party with and introduce our people to sound theories which have helped government officials and the general public gain a deeper understanding of this thought and encourage them to act accordingly. Second, mainstream thoughts and narratives continue to be consolidated and amplified. We are committed to unity and stability, to making encouragements and focusing on communicating positive elements. On the occasion of historic junctures such as the centenary of the founding of CPC, the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the PRC, and the 40th anniversary of reform and opening up, we organize a series of celebratory and commemorative events. We have poured our heart into covering and highlighting major decisions regarding the building of a moderately prosperous society, poverty alleviation, and COVID response, in an effort to create a social atmosphere where love of the party, love of the country, and love of socialism prevails. Third, core socialist values have been carried forward. Development of culture is guided by core socialist values. We have championed socialism with Chinese characteristics and the Chinese dream, deepened the campaign to improve public etiquette and ethical standards, worked to cultivate the new generation and promote good and up-to-date practices and trends, In an effort to set better examples, we have awarded heroes and role models with party or state honors, recognized a group of role models of the times of moral high standards, and applauded them as the most beautiful people. By doing so, we have shaped a good environment where role models are emulated, moral standards elevated, and more people step forward to become vanguards. Fourth, people's cultural needs are better met. With a people-centered approach, we endeavor to promote the growth of art and literature. A number of popular movies and TV series were filmed, including My People, My Country, The Battle at Lake Changjin, The Age of Awakening, and Minning Town. Efforts are also made to advance both urban and rural public cultural services, delivering benefits to the people through cultural development. We have taken creative steps to adapt and develop traditional Chinese culture by building national cultural parks on the basis of or inspired by the Great Wall, the Grand Canal, the Long March, and the Yellow River, etc. All these have provided the people with more substantive and multidimensional cultural experiences. Fifth, China is presented as more credible, lovable, and respectable. To strengthen exchanges and multi-layered civilizational dialogues with the world, we have convened the Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations, organized events such as China Year of Culture, Year of Tourism, Understanding China, Happy Spring Festival, and translation of classic works. We have worked actively to advance multidimensional external communications supported by various pillars. We have promoted cultural exchanges and people-to-people connectivity. We are committed to presenting well China's stories to the world and making its voice heard, which have helped enhance China's impact in the global discourse. The plenary session fully recognized what we have achieved in cultural development and ideological work. It pointed out that since the 18th National Congress, there has been a sweeping and fundamental shift in the ideological domain, a notable boost in confidence in our culture among all party members and Chinese people, and a major increase in cohesiveness throughout society. All of this has provided solid ideological guarantees and powerful inspiration for opening up new horizons for the cause of the party and the country in the new era. Thank you.
请第三排这位女士。
谢谢主持人，我是凤凰卫视记者。中国提出发展
Phoenix TV. China has put forward developing whole process people's democracy, the Western to assess democracy through multi-party, check and balance, and universal suffrage. As for China's whole process people's democracy, how is the degree of democracy tested? To realize common prosperity is now officially on the agenda. Given the slowing economy of China, will there be challenges to realizing common prosperity? Under growth pressures, how will China realize common prosperity? Thank you.
您的问题涉及到两个方面，建议分别由
Your question is in
江
two
金泉先
folds.
生和
I will
韩
suggest
文
that
秀先
Mr.
生
Jiang Jingquan and Mr. Han Wenxiu will take your question respectively.
这个发展全过程人民民主啊，是习近平总书记总结中国民主
To
政
develop
治建设的
process
实践。
people's democracy is a proposal put forward by General Secretary Xi Jinping on the basis of summarization of the practice of the development of the system of China. I think this is a very good question that you raised, and I would be more than happy to share with you my views.
民主啊，是全人类的共同价值，
Democracy is a common
也
value
是
of
中
all
国共产党
humanity
和中国人民。
and a long-standing important commitment of the CPC and the Chinese
我们
people.
党从成立起，
Since the
就
founding
始
of the
终高
party,
人民民主的
it
旗
has
帜。
always upheld the banner of people's
我们党
democracy.
从国内外政治
Our
发展
party
历
has
史中
learned from the success, failure,
深刻认识到，
gain and loss of
中国的
domestic
政治
and
文
foreign
明
political
和政
developments
治制
that
度
China's political
必须深深扎根于中国社会土壤。
civilization and political system must be deeply rooted in the land of the Chinese society, and that simple duplication of other countries'
甚至
political systems
会把国家
cannot
全
work
都
and
命
even
运
risk
葬送掉，
ruining the future of the country.
不是西方国家的专利，
Democracy is
更
not
不能由西方国家来定
an
义。
exclusive patent of Western countries, and even less should it be defined or dictated by Western countries. Democracy is all about
一
the
些西方
people
国家所
ruling the
引以
country.
为傲的贤居民主，
The electoral democracy of Western countries are actually democracy ruled by the capital, and they are a game of the rich, not real democracy. At the same time, democratic models of the world cannot be the same. Even the democratic forms of Western countries are not entirely identical. The practice to measure the world's diverse political system with a unified yardstick and judge the humanity's colorful political civilization with a simplistic perspective is in itself undemocratic. As for which country's democracy is good or bad, the people living in that country has the most direct feeling and say, and this is not something to be judged by a handful of people from other countries. Some Western countries are seeing their democracy being hollowed out and their people becoming more and more dissatisfied, while wantonly impose their democratic model on other countries and brought intense sufferings to the people there, like the color revolutions that happened in previous years. This is becoming more and more clear to people all over the world. There have been some numbers that you may have taken note of. The ABC released a latest opinion poll showing that 50% of interviewees globally and 72% in the U.S. believe that the U.S. is no longer a good democratic paradigm. Another opinion poll in the U.S. shows that over 81% of Americans are worried about U.S. democracy. In stark comparison, two latest opinion polls by the U.S. show that the Chinese people have a 95% satisfactory rate for the party and 98% satisfaction for the government. Any clear-eyed people will find it easy to draw a conclusion. Recently, the U.S. put together a so-called Summit for Democracy with an attempt to revitalize Western democracy. To convene such a summit against the backdrop of the loads of problems in Western democracy is such an irony. To convene such a summit against the backdrop of the loads of problems in Western democracy is just the intention is nothing but bashing other countries and dividing the world, which cannot be achieved. To this, the CPC and the Chinese people have always remained level-headed. We actively learn from all beneficial outcomes of human civilization and welcome all helpful advice and kind criticisms, but will never accept condescending lecturing. Democracy is not an ornament used just for decorative purposes. Rather, democracy is about solving issues faced by the people. In judging whether a country is democratic or not, it is important to see whether the country is truly run by the people, whether the people have the right to vote, and more importantly, whether they have the right to extensive participation. It is important to see what promises are made to the people in the electoral process, and more importantly, how many of those promises are delivered afterwards. It is important to see what political procedures and rules are instituted by a country's systems and laws, and more importantly, whether these systems and laws are truly executed. It is important to see whether the rules and procedures governing the exercise of power are democratic, and more importantly, whether power is truly under oversight and checks by the people. If the people of a country are only called upon to vote and are forgotten once they have cast their votes, or if the people only hear high-sounding promises during an election campaign and yet have no say whatsoever afterwards, or if the people are wooed to get their votes and are ignored once voting is over, then such democracy is not true democracy. To develop democratic political system of socialism is a long commitment of the CPC. Since the 18th Party's Congress, the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core has remained committed to the political development path of socialism with Chinese characteristics and to the integrated advances in party leadership, the running of the country by the people, and law-based governance, resisted the erosion of so-called Western constitutional governance, multi-party rotation and separation of powers, and embarked on a democratic path of developing whole process people's democracy. China's whole process people's democracy is a complete systemic chain, including electoral democracy, coordination democracy, social democracy, primary level democracy, citizen democracy, and all other elements of democratic politics. It covers democratic election, democratic consultation, democratic decision-making, democratic management, democratic supervision, and all other fields of the democratic process. China's whole process people's democracy is based not only on a full range of institutions and procedures, but also on full participation in practice. It is a democracy of both process and outcome, both procedure and substance. It is both direct and indirect democracy. It is people's democracy in nature and at the same time represents the will of the state. It involves all links of the process and covers all aspects of public life and the entire population. It is the most broad-based, genuine, and effective socialist democracy. With diverse, smooth, and orderly democratic channels, it effectively guarantees the whole population's management of state, social, economic, and cultural affairs through various ways and forms. The Chinese people have a high level of political and systemic confidence, and the fundamental reason is that China's whole process people's democracy is a democracy that has a high volume of democracy and rich content of democracy and is deeply welcomed by the Chinese people, and this is true people's democracy. Thank you. On common prosperity, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that we need to advance common prosperity in the course of high-quality development. This points the way for realizing common prosperity. To advance common prosperity, resolving development issues comes first, and distribution is also important, but we cannot rely on distribution only to realize common prosperity. China's per capita GDP has exceeded $10,000, but has yet to reach high-income countries' levels. Even if all wealth is equally redistributed, we can still not realize common prosperity. To achieve common prosperity, there is no shortcut or magic. We must rely on the hard work of the 1.4 billion plus Chinese people. First, common prosperity requires high-quality development. China remains the world's largest developing country and still needs to use development to tackle the challenges ahead. But development in the new era should be something that is based on the full, accurate, and faithful implementation of the new development philosophy. We must put the people. We must make development more balanced, coordinated, and inclusive, narrow urban, rural, and inter-regional gaps, and lay a solid foundation for common prosperity from the source. We must put the people first, guarantee people's equality of opportunities, rules, and rights in participating in development, jointly create social wealth, and jointly share development outcomes. It can be said that the process of advancing high-quality development is a process of addressing the main contradiction of unbalanced and inadequate development, raising the share of middle-income population, and optimizing distribution structure and promoting the all-round development of the people and advancing common prosperity. Since last year, faced with COVID-19, China led the path to regain economic growth, completed the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects as scheduled, completed the task of eradicating extreme poverty, and demonstrated the strong resilience of the Chinese economy. Economic fluctuations are short-term phenomena, and common prosperity is the long-term goal. The Chinese economy has found fundamentals sufficient and strong space for development and position, and is well positioned to underpin long-term sustained and sound development and provide strong material foundation for solid progress in realizing common prosperity. Second, common prosperity required building an income distribution system of efficiency as well as fairness. Primary distribution plays a fundamental role in the formation of the final distribution layout. We must uphold the approach of work-based distribution as the mainstay and coexistence of multiple distribution methods and incentivize and mobilize the public to get rich through honest work and innovation and entrepreneurship. Primary distribution must be both efficient and be fair. We should regulate distribution order and control primary distribution gap as appropriate. Redistribution should enhance its function of adjusting distribution gap and better leverage this function by improving taxation regime, raising the share of direct tax, and strengthening taxation supervision. At the same time, it is important to improve the social security system, enhance transfer payment system, step up support and assistance for low-incomers and regions with difficulties, better leverage institutions providing for basic needs, and strive to make the olive-shaped distribution structure smaller toward the tips and bigger toward the middle. Redistribution should also strike a balance between efficiency and fairness. It should both advance fairness and accommodate efficiency and should not ignore either. All in all, we should make institutional arrangements combining primary, secondary, and tertiary distribution systems. We need to divide the pie well and make the pie bigger. Third, common prosperity requires enterprises to do their own things well. Entrepreneurs have multiple ways and means to contribute to common prosperity, the most basic of which is to operate lawfully and honestly, pay taxes according to regulations, perform social responsibilities, treat employees and customers well, protect the lawful rights and interests of consumers, run their businesses well, and create wealth for the society. This is what running a business is all about, and also the right way to contribute to common prosperity. At the same time, the country encourages businesses and entrepreneurs to, where they have the wish and capacity, actively participate in public welfare and charity endeavors, which effectively plays a role in tertiary industry. Tertiary distribution. As China's businesses grow and more people get rich, coupled with better policy incentives of the country, China's public welfare and charity endeavor will see a huge progress. That said, charity and donation is voluntary. We must not opt for the Robin Hood approach, which could end up in a lose-lose scenario, and we should avoid forced donations, as that would run counter to the original intention of common prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you. Question from CNA. A recent study into China's Belt and Road Initiative has found that several projects in developing countries have met with implementation problems. Some of the reasons cited for this include debt and environmental hazards. And now we've also seen the US and Europe announce their own infrastructure initiatives. I would like to ask, with this regard, how has that changed the Belt and Road Initiative in China's overall development plan? Thank you.
亚洲新闻台，最近一项针对中国“一带一路”倡议的研究发现，一些发展中国家的项目面临着实施问题。报告中提到的一些原因包括债务和环境风险。目前，美国和欧洲也宣布了自己的基础设施计划。鉴于这些情况，“一带一路”倡议在中国总体发展规划中的角色是否发生了变化？
我们继续请韩文秀先生回答。
We'll have Mr. Han Wenxiu to answer this question.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you.
习近平主席提出共建“一带一路”重大倡议，到现在呢已经有8年的时间。
8 years have passed since President Xi Jinping put forward the major Belt and Road Initiative. What has happened fully demonstrates that the BRA, has become the world's most popular international public good and platform for international cooperation. As of 2020, China's cumulative trade with Belt and Road partner countries had exceeded $9.2 trillion, and investment stock in these countries was close to $140 billion. Major projects such as the China-Laos Railway and Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail are making steady progress, bringing tangible to the local people and demonstrating China's strong capacity and efficiency in engineering and construction. Belt and Road Cooperation has made important contributions to combating COVID-19 and reviving the global economy. By far, China has provided more than 1.7 billion doses of COVID vaccines to over 110 countries and international organizations, most of which are Belt and Road partner countries. Since 2020, the China-Europe freight trains have surged against the odds, running about 1,000 services on a monthly basis. A total of 25,000 cargo trains have shuttled between China and Europe, transporting over 2.3 million TEUs and carrying over 13 million articles of anti-epidemic supplies. The Belt and Road has truly become a Silk Road for health cooperation, providing strong safeguards for keeping the global supply chain smooth and ensuring basic livelihoods and bring tangible benefits to the people in partner countries. Facing the combined impacts of the changes in the world and the pandemic, both unseen in a century, we need to resolutely promote high-quality development of Belt and Road Cooperation. We should follow the principles of extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits, the philosophy of open, green, and clean cooperation, and a high-standard, people-centered, and sustainable approach. We should make sure that the Belt and Road development adapt to the new circumstances and brim with new vitality. First, we will lay greater emphasis on green Belt and Road development. We have actively carried out cooperation in areas such as green infrastructure, green energy, and green finance. For instance, in constructing the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway and the China-Laos Railway, animal passages have been specifically set aside to better protect the local eco-environment. Not long ago, President Xi Jinping announced at the UN General Assembly that China will not build new coal-fired power projects abroad. This is a major decision in response to climate change, demonstrating China's strong sense of responsibility. We will continue to pursue in-depth green Belt and Road development, encourage businesses to fulfill their social responsibilities, draw upon the environmental, social, and governance concept, build more high-standard eco and environmental-friendly projects, and pursue greener Belt and Road cooperation. Second, we will lay greater emphasis on the sustainable development of Belt and Road Cooperation. We have worked with the international community to help low-income countries ease their debt burden and contributed more than anyone else to the G20 debt service suspension initiative and extension. We have published the Belt and Road Debt Sustainability Framework and will follow the debt sustainability principle, improve the policy system for debt risk prevention and control, and enhance the quality and performance of investment. Third, we will lay greater emphasis on inclusive development of the Belt and Road Cooperation. Putting people's well-being first, we have launched as many as possible livelihood projects that can rapidly deliver tangible benefits to the people, with a view to increasing people's sense of benefit in partner countries. Fourth, we will lay greater emphasis on innovative development of BRI cooperation. We support Belt and Road countries in growing the digital economy, closing the digital divide, strengthening cooperation on innovation, and sharing the achievements of a new round of scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation. BRI cooperation is not a solo performance of China. Rather, it is a chorus of all partner countries. Now, there is a huge shortfall in investment infrastructure across the world, especially in developing countries. We welcome all countries to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative, and we are open to any cooperation initiative that is conducive to greater connectivity and common development. We believe that Belt and Road Cooperation fits in well with the reality of partner countries, enjoys unique strength and appeal, and is sure to have sound and sustained development and deliver more fruits of mutually beneficial cooperation. Thank you.
好，就第二排这位先生。
谢谢主持人。人民日报记者提问。
Thank you. From People's Daily.
党带领中国人民在中国特色社会主义道路上正不可逆转地走向中华民族伟大复兴。
Now,
那么请问
the Chinese nation is marching toward irreversible rejuvenation.
历史经验的。
How does the resolution assess and review?
山先生回答。
我来回答这个问题。
Let me take your question.
100年来，我们党
Over the past 100 years, the party has rallied and led the people in a great endeavor, one that has contributed to an epic chapter in the millennia-long history of the Chinese nation. Valuable historical experience has been accumulated. In the resolution adopted at the plenary session, this is encapsulated in the following 10 aspects. They are upholding the party's leadership, putting the people first, advancing theoretical innovation, staying independent, following the Chinese path, maintaining a global vision, breaking new ground, standing up for ourselves, promoting the united front, and remaining committed to self-reform. I think that these 10 aspects form a holistic system, with each one of them being closely related to the others. They have made clear the fundamental guarantees of the party and the people's success, as well as the source of strength of why the party has always been the pioneer of history and why it has always stood at the forefront of history. They crystallized the advanced nature and integrity of the party and how it manages to stand at the forefront of the times. This experience does not come out of nowhere, nor is it copied from others or borrowed from others. Rather, the experience is gained through painstaking efforts and huge sacrifices. It is gained through dedication of the party. Deep into these experiences, we see both success and failures. We see blood and sweat shed, and we see wisdom and determination. It symbolizes historic progress, marks historic endeavors, and reveals the laws of history. That is why such experience is valuable assets that inspire us to move forward. It is also a sound guidance that will lead us into a better future. Now, coming back to your question on how to assess and review the historical experience, I would mainly share with you 2 points. First, the review of historical experience in the resolution is based on the trend of history and reveals the laws of it. Over the past century, the party led the people in fighting tough battles with unyielding determination, achieving great success in the new democratic revolution. Under the party's leadership, the people worked diligently for a strong China with a spirit of self-reliance, achieving great success in socialist revolution and development. The people has freed their minds and forged ahead, achieving great success in reform and opening up, as well as socialist modernization. The party has led the people in bolstering self-confidence and self-reliance and in making innovations on the basis of what has worked in the past, thereby bringing great success for socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. In the past 100 years, the party has led the people in creating miracles in the development of the Chinese nation, development of socialism in the world, and progress of the entire humankind. Focusing on both the continuum and different stages of history, the resolution revealed the great journey the party has been through in the past century and the great path it explored in leading the Chinese people. The resolution revealed the distinctive features, the 8 words for that different stage is the distinctive feature of that particular phase of history. It also revealed the goals and achievements of different stages in history. The resolution reviewed the great contributions the party has made in national independence, people's liberation, prosperity of the country, and progress of human civilization. It also looked into the historical inevitability of the party's leadership and the uniqueness and unique strength of socialism with Chinese characteristics. It revealed how important this new era we are in right now is in the historical process of national rejuvenation, which means how important or the importance of the new era in this historical process. I think this resolution has given us an answer. All these have unveiled the secrets of how the party succeeded and how we could continue along the path of success. This is a golden key, I would say, offering us a precise and accurate answer to the questions and shed light on the secrets of the success of the party. All these historical experience should be carefully preserved, earnestly followed, as well as renewed and advanced in the new era. Second, the review of historical experience in the resolution aims to boost unity in thinking among party members and encourage them to chart the course ahead. In a world with changes unseen in a century, we, the Chinese nation, have come to a crucial stage in national rejuvenation. The party needs to rally and lead the people in upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era, and in opening up new prospects in building a modern socialist country. This requires us to truly understand where we stand in history and grasp the laws of it. All of us party members should bear in mind what the party is and what its mission is. These are issues of fundamental importance. So we see that the resolution focuses on both the laws of history and how we may shape the course of it. From that standpoint, the resolution analyzes how the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and the worldwide changes unseen in a century would interact with each other. It looks at the logic of ushering in new development stage, following the new development philosophy, and fostering a new development paradigm. It reviews the new requirements in the new era of the coordinated implementation of the five-sphere integrated plan and the four-pronged comprehensive strategy. It also explores the historical inevitability of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. The resolution therefore encourages the whole party to seize historic opportunities, forge ahead despite difficulties, and chart a new and better course of history that will give us a more noble historical course. Thank you. In the interest of time, one last question. Thank you. From Zijing magazine, the past decades have witnessed rapid growth of the Chinese economy, making it the second largest in the world. The world is trying to find out the secret to China's economic miracle. How do you see such a miracle, and what does it say for the future? Thank you for your question. The resolution adopted at the Sixth Plenary Session has systematically reviewed the great achievements and historical experience of the party in the past century. It is a treasury with rich intellectual resources on the successful practice of revolutions, development, as well as reforms. Indeed, it does shed light on the secret of China's economic miracle of rapid growth. There are a number of commitments that have made the miracle possible. First, a commitment to development as the top priority. Since the third plenary session of the 11th CPC Central Committee, we have put economic development front and center and made it the top priority of the party in governing the country. This has helped lay a solid material foundation for the party's efforts to fulfill its mission. As socialism with Chinese characteristics enters a new era, development has been given new meanings. We should cast aside the old development path. Rather, we should be guided by the principle that green and lush mountains are invaluable assets. The new development philosophy should be fully delivered, a new development paradigm fostered, and high-quality development pursued. This is the top priority. Second, a commitment to deepening reform. We have built a socialist market economy where socialism and market economy is skillfully combined. This is a creative approach of the party. Reform has helped us break away from the rigidity of the planned economy, making the Chinese economy a really dynamic one. as well as unleashing and developing social productivity. Third, a commitment to opening up. Opening up, as opposed to closing the doors, has enabled China to harness both domestic and international markets. Deeply involved in economic globalization, China has advanced reforms and development by opening up, making greater contributions to global development and prosperity. We will adhere to the fundamental state policy of opening up, strike a balance between development and security, and between openness and security. We seek to pursue high-quality development by opening up at a higher standard. Fourth, a commitment to making innovation the main driver of development. Science and technology is the top contributor to productivity. This is something that we have been adhering to. We will hence adopt a strategy of innovation-driven development, strengthen protection of property rights and intellectual property rights, shore up technologies of national strategic importance, enhance the major role of companies in innovation, and step up efforts to pursue self-reliance and greater development in technologies. Fifth, a commitment to the two unswervings. To be specific, we will unswervingly consolidate and develop the public sector, and unswervingly encourage, support, and guide the development of the non-public sector. We will establish a system with Chinese characteristics, champion entrepreneurship, build a cordial and clean relationship between government and businesses, and facilitate the healthy growth of not just the non-public sector, but also economic participants in the non-public sector. We will also endeavor to promote fair competition, mutual reinforcements, and common development of economies and market entities, regardless of their forms of ownership. Sixth, a commitment to better aligning an efficient market and well-functioning government. We need to properly manage the relationship between government and the market, give the market a decisive role in allocating resources while better leveraging the role of the government. We need to transform the functions of the government. On one hand, we should forestall absence of the government or unnecessary and unwarranted intervention. On the other hand, we should step up public services and market oversight, effectively handle cases such as monopoly or disorderly expansion of capital, and strive to foster a market-oriented, world-class business environment that is governed by law. Seventh, a commitment to pursuing progress while maintaining stability. This is an important principle of the party in its governance and an approach in economic work. We should pursue progress on the basis of stability and not hasten efforts for the sake of seeing results. For instance, hard lessons of the Great Leap Forward and collectivization movement in the 1950s must still be heeded. In our pursuit of carbon peak and carbon neutrality, as well as common prosperity, we should always ensure stability while making progress on that basis, one step forward at a time. Eighth, a commitment to the party's leadership, upholding the Central Committee's authority and its centralized, unified leadership is the fundamental guarantee of our work. We need to strengthen the party's overall leadership and economic work, seek truth from facts, work in line with law of the economics, and unleash the proactiveness, agency, and creativity of all elements. We need to be systemic and more coordinated, focus on the principal contradictions, leverage the strategic guiding role of planning, and harness the advantages of the socialist system, which enable us to get things done by mobilizing resources. All these are the things we've learned in the past. They also inspire us to chart a course of the future. In face of the new missions in the new era, we, under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, should stay committed to and make good use of what we've learned in the past, and that will enable the giant ship of the Chinese economy steadily sail far ahead, creating new miracles of development. Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to thank
今天的新
all
闻发布会
journalists. This
到此结
would
束。
be the end of
谢谢
today's
大家
press conference. Thank you.